Good evening. It is Monday, December 12th at 7 o'clock, and I'm calling the EDA meeting to order. Looking for a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by DeLuca,
Second.
second by Warden. Any further discussion? All in favor of adopting the agenda as is, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries 6-0. All right, first item of business is to approve the minutes from August 22nd and November 14th.
So moved?
Moved by Cahill,
Second.
second by Francis. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the August 22nd and November 14th minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. New business this evening is our downtown development, and I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Go ahead.
You can talk.
Okay.
I don't like talking.
Honorable Chair and EDA members, we just wanted to come back in front of you tonight with just a quick update following our last meeting. As you know, we were one day off on our timeline when we met last relating to the downtown redevelopment. And so we were notified that the developer that we had been working with, Maple Plain, Main and Maple LLC, are not able to move forward at this time with the project. And so they they noted what we noted before. Interest rates changed the game on them enough that they weren't able to move forward with the project that they had originally conceived at this time. They did want to continue looking at the project. They liked the project. They just said that their group wasn't able to move forward on the current timeline. So with that, we kind of put into play some of the other items that we had talked about relating to the downtown. One of those is reaching out to other development groups to talk about opportunities for redevelopment. Clarissa and Grant put together this brochure. I gave them some of this information, but kind of a one or two pager that we could set up on the website, send out in an email, and just ping a bunch of groups that we've either talked to or that we know are in the area looking at projects to try to give them some really quick information, and then hopefully maybe engage a couple of those groups to look at the site a little bit closer moving forward. Everybody's kind of doing the same thing right now. Everybody's looking at this interest rates, construction cost thing, and trying to figure out if it's going to balance out, if it's going to change, if it's going to keep going up. And so I think, in all the projects that I'm talking to people on, everybody's kind of looking but still waiting. But I think it would be good to get this out and see if there's some interest moving forward beginning of the year for some groups looking for projects that this might be enticing. So we put together just concept site plan that kind of takes what we had talked about before, multifamily residential, possible city hall, possible highway retail, and just shows people what that looks like, and then gives some more kind of just baseline data relating to what we'd potentially offer and what that project could look like. So, you have anything else? Any questions, any comments, any thoughts?
I think it was great work by staff. I mean, I can't imagine how many times you guys are answering phone calls and walk-ins, and to have something for people to leave with or to be able to email with and have in hand. Just a great short synopsis and easy read. So I just appreciate the work that was put in by all of you on that.
Is there a distribution that this goes out to, or is it just?
Yeah, so it's going to be both. It's going to be available. I think we'll make it available on the website. I think we'll make it available, to anybody who walks in is asking. But I think, between my contacts and I'll work with Clarissa and Grant, we're going to send it out too. So I think we'll try to create maybe a dozen or so sends, and then just see if there's some other interest. Sometimes when we send this out, other people will say, "Oh, I know somebody who wants it. Can you give me a copy of it?" So, I've had a half dozen, I bet, people reach out to the city in the last couple years interested in this property. I think we start, with that group, and then we try to expand it to some of the other groups that I just know are out kicking tires on projects in the West Metro, and then see where it goes. This isn't a formal RFP. We've done those before. They've been unsuccessful. They typically are unsuccessful, I'll be honest. It just depends on what you're looking for, but I think this is a good approach, and I think we should at least start with this and see where it goes. If we're not generating leads or generating interest, then I think we kind of take that next step, which might be formalize a RFP.
On the northeast corner of 55, and I believe it's Maine, just west of the river, west of the, there is a lot in Rockford, and they've got a large sign out there. Is it that, say, hey, this is zoned, or this is available for redevelopment, contact the Rockford EDA, or something along that line? Is it, I mean, with the traffic that we get along Highway 12, is it too late to put something like that up so that you might catch a developer's eye that that they're aware that it's city property, and
It's a
city
good
wants to work with you?
Yeah, I think it's a good thought. We did have a sign. Who did Tom Palmquist work for at the time? It was CBRE,
It was a long
or it
time
was
ago.
one of those, whatever his group was at the time, one of the big commercial outfits. And Tom Palmquist, who was a local independent, he moved up north, but he had advertised that for the city, and we had an engagement with him actually to do that. So we did have a sign up at one point that said redevelopment opportunity. I don't think it hurts to put that up. It's kind of like renting an apartment, though. You want it out there, but the people who are driving by probably aren't the right people. The people who are looking for it differently. But I don't think it hurts to just say redevelopment opportunity, inquire, that type of thing. I don't know. Your thoughts on that? But
Well, I guess
you're gonna
I'd
get a lot of
rather-
calls.
I was gonna say, if we're screening calls, because our goal, I mean, my goal at least, and I'm not sure we're on the completely
Well, I
same
think we
page
are.
just yet,
Yeah.
is that like, I don't wanna lock this property up again in a discussion with a single developer. That said, I don't wanna spend half my time talking to people who aren't real
Serious
developers.
either.
So I guess I guess if that's what's gonna happen, then I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of it just depends.
It's a catch.
Putting something generic out there, it's okay, because people who drive, 20,000 trips a day drive by, it's just, you don't know.
Well, there's been
Who
recent
you get.
development in Rockford,
Yeah.
both on the east end and the west end, and
Yeah,
It's
it
not
would
a
be
debate.
up to you, because you're gonna
It's-
field a lot
I mean,
of
we're
generics.
just looking for something so specific.
Yeah.
That we're gonna end up fielding a lot of calls for auto-oriented
Yeah.
stuff, and, I don't know.
because of
I
the
just-
frontage.
Yeah,
You're gonna get a lot of potential uses that you don't. It's just a lot of questions, right? Hey, how about
Right.
this? Hey, how about that? Hey, how about this?
yeah.
I think it would be good, let's start with this and then maybe revisit in the summer your question again, Councilmember Commissioner Fay, about that, and see if there would be value in possibly putting in a bigger sign.
Well, that
about
won't be
inquire-
necessary in the summer when we have a developer on.
I like your thinking.
Let's hope.
I like your thinking. It's kind of my gut. Other comments from commissioners? Adam?
Yeah, I just think, you brought up, it sounds like we had a listing agreement with CBRE at the time, and that, I think, again, we have a few potentially interested parties for the use that we want. I think right now is not exactly a time where you've got a lot of developers chomping at the bit to get deals that are irresponsible on their side done. They're looking for great deals, so I think maybe keeping it in the back pocket to enlist a broker at some point, if we don't find the right user, and maybe when the market's stabilized a little bit, but they'll have access to that. They'll screen the potential users. You do end up paying a brokerage commission on that, but you are getting it in front of the right people. So I don't think that's something we necessarily need to look at right now, but if we continue down this path without any hits.
Thank you. Any other thoughts, feedback, questions?
Typos. I found a
I
couple.
One small one I did see just on the utilities on the first page.
And utilities to accommodate.
There you go.
redevelopment.
Yep.
That's one I caught, yep.
Otherwise, yeah, it looks great. Somebody needs to petition Google Earth to take it. It still shows the
Buildings.
yeah, the buildings that have been torn
Seriously,
down.
they
but,
need
And
an
you
update.
can't cover them up?
No.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean you can't cover them up? You just
Mhm.
pop through whatever you put
Yeah.
there.
Awesome. Anything else you need from us, staff, with this?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Is there any other business?
Mayor, you had asked for an update on Forced to Fork. So we can just give a quick rundown on that.
Thank you.
They had submitted an application, however, the materials that they submitted were still incomplete and not sufficient for review of the site. So we're still working with them. We did verify with the state that they are still eligible for the Minnesota Investment Fund funding, even if it carries over into next year. And the property owner has now taken over the obtaining the engineering required for some of that site plan design.
So still interest, still things moving forward, just,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Just
on their
getting
end,
that.
not ours.
Trying to
Correct.
get them to hire the proper people to prepare the proper plans is difficult. I mean, it's just been a challenge.
Okay.
We try to encourage people down that process, and then they try to pick it up without hiring professional people, and we just can't bring plans that are not put together, that don't do all the things that we need, not only from the city standpoint, but from just kind of all other regulatory standpoint. You know, there's a certain kind of baseline. So we thought we had it pretty well directed. It is a challenge. I mean,
Yeah.
people who are doing business, like this particular outfit, they've done business where they've gone in and they've leased existing warehouse space that's already set up for the use they want, minus some internal, like building code type things or building permit. And it's just a different experience. What they're doing here is coming into a site that requires site plan approval because they're changing the use or they're really expanding the use. If they'd gone into, say, the building where the plastics company was, it probably would have been
Different
a
story.
pretty straightforward transaction for them. But so we're just trying to keep that going, and they always fret at the cost of hiring people, to, professionals, consultants. Even a couple thousand seems to scare, make people think twice. So
Okay.
yeah, I think we're good though. The owner, I think, is on board now. He's hired a real consulting firm who's a notable consulting firm that we know. So I'm hopeful that what they prepare is at least a good start for us.
Okay. That's good news. Good. Yeah. Thank you for that update. I just knew on the prior dates,
I know,
for
I'm
some
so
reason I was
excited.
thinking it was,
Yep.
so that's
Yep.
why I'd asked, so.
Yep.
Should have been.
Appreciate, okay, good. Just don't want to hear later that we're not business friendly. We're just doing things the right way.
Well, you'll
You're
still
gonna
hear that.
but
Well,
Short
there's a
of-
reason we do things the
Short
right
of
way.
us doing the plans for them, I mean, it's just at some point we're just saying you gotta just hire the right people. They're consultants who do it for a living. They'll be able to put the work together. They'll be able to give us all the stuff we need, and it's a part of doing the business, right? I mean, it's pretty normal, and I think the thing that, for me anyway, I mean, we do have businesses who come into town who bring professionals who do the work, and we get it. So for us to not require that consistently, I think is not fair either, right? So we're just saying, give us the kind of base level things that we need to be able to process your application, like a survey
Mhm.
and a grading plan that actually shows like grades, things like that.
Drainage.
Dimensions on a
Details.
plan, yeah. I mean, just some of the basic stuff, right? So, yeah.
Which is important to keep things safe and policies and procedures, so thank you for doing that. Any other business? All right, with that then, I am looking for a meeting or a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion to adjourn by DeLuca, second by Warden. All in favor?
Aye.
EDA is adjourned at 7:15.